as more you are in Web3 space, as more nerdy you become.
Yeah, somebody like me that has a complete monkey brain just needs to absorb like information non-stop.
Yeah. I know so many people who went from nothing to being a millionaire, like multi-millionaire.
Who cares about like an extra hour or two sleep? You sleep as much as you want after that.
And I was coming to the office 8 a.m. in the morning and leaving the office like 11 p.m., 12 p.m. every day.
Some people go back and say, oh, look, you were wrong, you were right. It was like, well, yeah.
I thought that crypto was a scam for my entire life. Everything is already invented and it's impossible to bring something new. That's true.
I don't want to work weekends, or why are you working on a Saturday? I'm like, why are you not working on a Saturday?
That's why we are here on Sunday, guys.
It's a Sunday.
Hi, Erhan. Welcome on our Kolo podcast. First week in Dubai. Extremely excited to have you here, man. And I would love to make the introduction myself, but I always prefer to give my guest the microphone and actually ask you to tell our listeners about who you are and how you got into blockchain. So maybe just give us a couple of words to make a proper intro about what you do in the Web3 space and why you are so cool to be on our podcast today.
Hi, firstly, thanks so much for inviting me. It's great to be here. Yeah, so look, my name's Erhan. I'm the founder and CEO of EAK Digital. So EAK Digital is a market-leading Web3 PR marketing events KOL powerhouse agency. So we've been working exclusively in Web3 and crypto since 2017. So we started off just as a PR agency, and then over the last 7 or 8 years, we've just built our services over that time. So all of our clients have wanted then, oh, can you do social media? Can you do KOLs? Can you do events? Can you do performance marketing, et cetera, et cetera? So over the years, we've just continued, and we've been building our teams and our services over the last 7 years, which sounds like a long time. And on top of that, we organize major events. So I'm the founder, and my agency is the organizer of Istanbul Blockchain Week. So Istanbul Blockchain Week is the largest Web3 event in Turkey, the most credible and biggest, which is a real honor, to be honest. On top of that, we've also ran like a Web3 festival called Blockdown Festival, which was an epic experience. So Blockdown stands for blockchain and lockdown. So we actually launched it during lockdown. This is the first ever Web3 live virtual event. Seriously, the first ever one.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, and then on top of all of that, of course, I'm an advisor, an investor, as you might expect. We're a team of around 40 people now, spread across the world.
Oh my God, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, offices in London, Dubai, and Istanbul. Yeah, with my background. And we're rocking and rolling from here.
All right. Awesome. That's a very exciting point, man. And how I love it to ask how this whole thing started. How did you learn about blockchain and how you actually started your journey with this amazing industry?
So we go back to 2017. I had just done 3 years in an advertising agency called AKQA, which is part of the WPP group of agency, which is the largest group of agencies, advertising agencies in the world, which was amazing. I loved it. I learned so much stuff. I was a project manager there. So I was working on clients like, Rolls-Royce, Nike, Mini, Barclaycard, all these major brands. But on the side, I was running EAK Digital. So EAK Digital at the time, I was just earning like holiday money, clothes money, Friday night beer money. Then eventually it escalated to a point where I'd saved like 2 years' salary. And basically what I was doing at that time was like helping clients get on like major publications, helping CEOs become thought leaders. You're getting them features on like Forbes, Business Insider, and TechCrunch, et cetera, et cetera. And so I saved 2 years' salary, which was about 50K at the time. So I was only on 25K. Yeah, and then I then got this client in 2017 who wanted to get more access to private sale investment in the ICO days. So he was just like an angel investor. Yeah, we did a really good job for him. Again, we got him on some of those publications that I mentioned, and he was like, "Oh my God, Aaron, there's so many PR agencies that just say they can help, but they never do. But you actually delivered." And I was like, "Yeah, look, can you just like tell me what to buy? Because I don't understand it. You don't have to pay me. Just tell me what to buy. Give me some tips." And then he was like, no. Like, you have to like learn this yourself. I was like, oh, come on, looks too
do your own
complicated.
research.
Do your own
As
research.
people, do your guys.
So then he was like, look, there's an event going on in San Francisco, which where he lived. He was like, why don't I fly you out? You can stay with me. He had this like big penthouse with like multiple rooms, etc. And I'll introduce you to my whole network. And I was like, I'm not going to turn that down. I'm from London. I've never been to the Bay Area. And, this cool, rich, VC guys invited me there. And then,
yeah, of course you should go.
Yeah. So I went.
There are no hesitations, right?
So I went. And then it's funny because he's like somebody that I am now. Obviously I run my own events, and like, obviously I didn't know anyone when I went in there. And he was just somebody that knew almost every person in the room. It's like, hey, and then so he was introducing me. and obviously bigging me up and saying, you need to work with this guy. He's got a
You
great
need to work with this
agency."
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
Oh, nice.
and then obviously in the ICO days.
And it's all back in 2017.
Yeah. So
Oh, it was crazy time back then.
There's an ICO for everything you could imagine.
Yeah.
Right?
It was literally like, we have white paper, we got 50 mil for it.
Yeah, exactly. And there was some real nonsense white papers as well. But anyway, like I ended up getting like 9 clients from that one event. And at the time, of course, ICO days, these companies are raising 20, 30, 40, 50 million sometimes, and obviously the agency plays a big part in that. So compared to what I was making before, compared to what I was making then, like it was like a 10x
of
minimum. And then obviously I started to learn about Bitcoin. I started to learn about, decentralization. I started to learn about self-sovereignty of your wealth. I started to learn about, like the trust machine aspect of blockchain. And I was like, hold on, I can get behind this. Because I've always been an underdog, like since I was young, like I said to you before, like I came from a single parent background. My father left when I was small. So I always had that kind of underdog mentality.
Yeah.
I always had to move around so much as a kid. I wasn't accepted because I'm Turkish, sometimes because I'm English. It's just ridiculous in these different scenarios. And so I've always had that kind of fighting spirit. And at university, I wasn't the best student. I got by. I was a good friend to have, but I wasn't the best student. And then I thought, well, hang on a minute. This is like trying to change the whole fabric of finance, potentially, and perhaps even society as a whole. And so if I can get on this in the ground floor, and I'm somebody that just loves to learn all the time. So right now I'm just deep diving in all these different AI, like LLMs and software and automation, and just nerding out with Python and stuff like on the weekend. When
as I say, as more you are in Web3 space, as more nerdy you become.
Yeah.
It's actually the thing that at the beginning, you're just like researching a couple of projects, reading Twitter, and then you're diving deep into white papers, reading all the documents and being just crazy about what you do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is about passion that we have out here.
So the fact is that with Web3 or crypto, as you called it back then, like you can never become a total expert because there's always more and more things to learn, which for somebody like me that has a complete monkey brain just needs to absorb like information non-stop. It's just perfect. And then obviously the fact that there's a monetary value attached to that just makes it even better because you can make obviously life-changing money.
Yeah, that's fair. That's how I say like the crypto is one of the biggest social elevators out here right now.
Oh yeah.
I know so many people who went from nothing to being a millionaire, like multimillionaire, just doing something in crypto in 2017. And it's already like 3x, 4x, 5x of what you were doing. But back then it was crazy time. And now I see that the threshold for entering the market is way higher. So before that, it was way easier for people just to come, just to start researching. Because nobody was that well educated. There were only like single person on the whole market who are actually doing it good. And now you see how good the expertise is and how many really, really well understanding people there are in the market. So now, of course, the threshold is way higher.
And like also it's the same back then. So back then we were like one of 4 agencies that understood crypto in general, which is one of the reasons. So I flipped the whole of EAK after that trip into crypto because I was like, well, this is a chance for us to like sweep up and like become an expert. But now, you got all these like traditional Web 2 agencies like jumping in and trying to act like they're Web 3 experts, especially in the last bull run when this whole creator economy and metaverse took off. They're all trying to jump in and look cool. But it's funny because those that haven't been here that long, a lot of them sometimes don't understand the culture. They don't understand. They don't know the history of some of the like influencers that they're working with, or some of the projects, some of the people, and they put people on pedestals. And it's like, well, actually, that's probably not the best person for your project. So it's a lot more competitive now, like as an agency. Whereas back then, if you understood it, like you're like one of 5.
Yeah. Exactly. The market. There was no competition on market, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And especially with you, like, could you dive deeper into the fact, because you said that this guy just came to you about some PR stuff, but how were you learning? Because, you were supposed to do something for the sphere that you didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
And how did this process look like? So you were actually trying to research something, or you were talking to people. How are you getting the information to make the proper PR for him at the beginning?
Growth hacking was really big when I was like 22, 23. And it still is in some ways, but like, there was all these like private Facebook groups and copywriting courses and things like that. And there was a guy called Vin Clancy, and I was like part of his like group and like learning how to growth hack and automate things. And then anyway, so it was actually Vin who put me in touch with the investor guy. And so I came from growth hacking circles to meet the investor guy. To be honest, I didn't have to learn about the tech too much because I just had to he was just another client in terms of like, I just have to learn like what is his background, what is his goals, what's his inspirations, what's he achieved, yada yada. What has he done in the media before? And then we just had to put it into a great pitch, because we already had the great relationships with the editors and the journalists anyway. So I didn't have to learn too much about the tech just for him. But then obviously over the period of like, okay, now we've done our work for him, we're getting real clients on board. That was obviously a big upgrade in terms of like what we had to learn. But I mean, to be honest, it's just like reading YouTube. YouTube was amazing and still is. I learned so much from YouTube.
Who was your favorite content creator back then on YouTube? Like, who really made you be like, okay, this guy knows something?
I mean, I used to watch Ian Bellino all the time. I mean, but I know he wasn't like, the smartest tool in the box, so to speak, but he was like one of the biggest influencers. He had this 100x spreadsheet. I don't know if you remember that. But yeah, he had this like 100x spreadsheet, and like everyone he put in the spreadsheet would do so well. And then that got crazy. And then he had the SEC after him in the end. I know him now, like, so it's quite funny. He's got Token Metrics, this great company. So I was watching a lot of him back then. I was still watching a good friend of mine now, even on tech. Proper OG, KOL, who I'm very good friends with these days. But yeah, like nowadays, obviously YouTube's come on so far. I think the content now, Elio Trades is doing great stuff.
I remember like when I was starting, and my journey started not that far ago. It was like around 3 years ago. But I was just living in the office. I worked for Woo Network back then, and I was coming to the office 8 a.m. in the morning and leaving the office like 11 p.m., 12 p.m. every day, because you were doing the work. And then I was researching, and then I was reading, and I was like Binance Academy, all the YouTubers, like Twitter, everything. I was just getting the information from all the corners just to understand something.
Yeah.
Because I came like from finance to Web3 finance, and it was already, something way different for me. I thought that crypto was a scam for my entire life. I was in the university, I was talking to teachers, and it was always about crypto, I don't know. And then when I actually met the guy who put me to crypto, I was like, okay, now I see the expertise you have. I hear how confident you are about what you're talking. And I remember this phrase that he told me, that traditional finance is based on people's belief in government, and crypto is based of people not believing to government.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. It explains it in a very, very easy way. And since you understand that the mechanics in both of the markets are very similar, you can just draw the parallels and make it all work. So, but this beginning, it's always exciting to learn how people were starting, because, I spent a lot of time researching myself, and I see that most of the people who are right now very, very big in the industry, at the beginning, they were grinding. They were just going book after book, tweet after tweet, video after video, just getting everything, like squeezing this information in just to learn as much as possible.
I mean, so one of the main things that I did was I literally, as soon as I got into it, well, for one reason or another, I broke up with my girlfriend. I don't know if it was it wasn't because of crypto. It was just the end of that relationship. And so I left London, like pretty much the same time. And then I wanted to quit my agency job anyway, because I had this, big dream of like traveling the world and meeting people, new cultures. Like I said, I'm very like open-minded guy. I want to experience the whole world. I want to see how people live. I want to be able to, make friends with people from all different races and places like that. Really interests me. So, I mean, I'm from London. It's one of the most multicultural cities in the world. I mean, everyone is from somewhere else. And so, yeah, I was like, okay, well then how about I travel the world, but I do it with intention. So okay, I'll go to Korea Blockchain Week, I'll go to Thailand Blockchain Week, I'll go to New York Blockchain Week at the time, which was the biggest, was where Consensus was. That's moved now to Austin, and now it's moved somewhere else. But anyway, yeah. So then I would go to Paris Blockchain Week. I would just go everywhere. Like, so I'd be looking, right, where is the next big event? Right, I'm going. Yeah,
I'm going there.
I'm going there. So I would just use that. So obviously I'd go to the event, I'd hang out with the crypto people. Then I'll probably stick around for 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks, check it out. Have a good time, and then go to the next place, 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 go to the next place. It was only this January that I actually settled in Dubai for the first time.
For how long have you been traveling like that?
So it was like early 2018, very early, like January.
And since then, you're always on the go?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was thinking about a suitcase, like every conference, everywhere. Like it was a real commitment. Yeah. But at the same time, I was also, I loved crypto, blockchain, but I was also like loving seeing the world. And like that is, another part of this, of the fact that I built this crazy network is because I was just, with the influencers and the journalists and the projects, was because I was just constantly there, in the conferences. I was at, because like Consensus was at 2019 as a total bear market. There was I think there was only around 2,000 people there or something. It was it was crap. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a long time ago. And then also what I did to get like more access was I was doing interviews like this at conferences. And so I remember it's on YouTube. I interviewed CZ back in 2018 or 19. I interviewed like Neo at the time, was a massive project. I was interviewing Roger Ver all the time. I had loads of like big names on just getting to know them. And then I got Neo as a client through that.
Nice.
Yeah. And then from there, Neo was the Chinese Ethereum, as an Ethereum killer. That's what they used to call it. And then because we did a great job with Neo, then obviously they introduced us to the whole of the Asian projects over there, and as the kind of bridge from like Asia to the West. So then we started getting clients in Vietnam, in China, in Japan, Korea, etc. So then we had this like weird. It wasn't supposed to be like that, but then we suddenly had this like loads of Asian clients, which was cool. Good that they trusted us, and that's kind of like how we started to grow the agency. Yeah.
All right, nice. And it's actually like how I said, you just combine beneficial with something nice, because you were traveling, seeing the world, having something nice for you, but also attending all the conferences, getting the network, getting connections, getting the clients signed in, and basically growing you in the sphere. So, it's the best way to do it, actually.
Yeah.
So cool, man. So cool. And let's go with the next part that I wanted to talk to you about. It's actually about Turkey. So can you tell us a little bit why you have that big influence in Turkey, maybe a little bit about your background, and let's just dive into the topic of what blockchain in Turkey is.
Obviously, my dad's from Turkey. My dad's from Istanbul. My mum's from London, so I'm half Turkish in my blood, So, but then, as I said, my dad kind of left home when I was younger. And so it was really a shame because I lost contact with my Turkish family until I was like an adult. Mm-hmm. That's a long time to like lose, contact with your cousins, and stuff that you used to hang out with when you were a kid. And so I always kind of had this kind of like lost side to me, when I was growing up. Of course, I love England, I love everything that comes with the UK, the culture, the football, the music, things like that, the festivals. But at the same time, I always knew that like this half of me was kind of missing. Mm-hmm. And so I always thought like, I would love to reconnect with Turkey when I'm like old enough to like do so.
And how you actually did it? Like, what was the point where we're like, all right, click, I need to get back to my roots?
The roots of Istanbul Blockchain Week was 2019. So basically, it's still pretty early in my journey. It's only 2 years in. So it was definitely like a scary moment for me to commit to such a big project. But I saw a report from ING, which is like a Dutch bank, and it said that like Turkey had some of the highest rates of adoption in crypto. And I was shocked, to be honest, because you don't think of Turkey as like a place for emerging technologies, or, to be honest, right? You don't. You don't. You think of like maybe Japan, things like that. And so I was like, okay, well, hang on, what's going on here? And then obviously I was a big events guy, right? I was going to all the events. So I was like, cool. So what is the biggest event in Turkey? I did my research and I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's pretty bad. Like, I looked at the lineup, I looked at the kind of KOLs and the speakers, and they were like real bad actors. People knew they were bad actors, scammers. It was all pay to play. Like there was no like emphasis on education. There was no emphasis on like bringing like the real thought leaders from the big projects in. And then obviously because my network was very large at that point, and obviously I've got the kind of Western network as well, which maybe people in Turkey didn't have at the time. And because my agency had been media partner of so many other events globally, I just thought there's a great opportunity here, business opportunity. But secondly, it will enable me to do business in Turkey and like get, like you said, tap back into my roots and like actually like provide value and help people in Turkey, which is the most important thing. And then third, I just thought like with the network that I have, I can definitely pull something out of the bag better than that. And if Turkey does have this much adoption, which as I looked more and more into it, it clearly did, and it's massively grown since then, my agency wants to help people get into the space without getting burned. The economy in Turkey is really, really bad. The inflation is really high, like more than what's
exactly.
reported.
I saw the
media
rate of lira, and it drops like that. It
like
looks like, DJ said, it looks like the wave in Spotify. It's just like boom, 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 boom.
It's bad. And, we can all sit here as people that, don't live in Turkey and be like, oh, it's great for crypto. But like, honestly, it's not good, for the people in Turkey. I mean, they're really struggling. They can't buy the same goods, that they could at the grocery store anymore. They have to really cut back on like, the things that we take for granted. They're not going to the stores anymore and buying like items for themselves. They're just trying to get the basic stuff.
And it happened quickly. It happens just in a week or something. It just drops and people are already not able to afford the thing that they were able to afford like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
This is just crazy.
Yeah.
So that's why we see from what I learned from you and from what I learned from my research, that's why we see that high level of crypto adoption in there.
It's one of the main reasons. There's obviously other reasons as well. I mean, Turkey is not part of the Schengen zone, right? It's not part of the EU, even though they tried for a long time, and now they've just said, sod it, we'll just go our own way. And so the youth of Turkey, which is huge, by the way, Turkey has a young population, digital savvy population, and they don't have much opportunity, to be honest. It's bleak. Like, they can't go to Europe and easily and get a job and visa. The inflation's super bad. No one wants to pay them very highly. And so they can't really invest in themselves. Like there's not that much options. Like if you saw some of the salaries that people are getting paid there, it's a joke, to be honest. And so what Web3 really like provides them is an opportunity to get out of that grind and to actually, we all know the salaries in Web3 better, but it's not just about salaries. It's also about, potential. Everyone know that crypto is growing, and they can obviously see that it's getting big in Turkey. So if they can become a bit leader or even just get experience in this space, then they can get themselves out of that situation, and they can actually get their earnings above the inflation rate. So they're actually making money and can afford to maybe buy a home one day and things like that. So and then if you like, something I was surprised about was that there's all these blockchain clubs around Turkey in general, like for different universities, and they're all just absolutely slammed with students. Like, as in, like, there's like probably 100 to 200 at least in every single club, and they pack out every event. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, hackathon, ideathon, even just a community meetup, packed with students. Like, and so everyone's there because they all see the potential. They're obviously younger, so they've grown up in the kind of YouTube generation. We all had lockdown as well. Obviously, the whole world did. So they're all learning about crypto and digital assets and cryptocurrencies and yield farming, etc. So they are super inspirational. And then I told you, I think the other day, with the war in Ukraine and Russia, you had like all these like Russian and Ukrainian devs moving into Istanbul.
Exactly. And also, and what I wanted to mention, that from what you just told me about Turkey, it's very, very similar to what we have in CIS, like Eastern Europe, especially CIS countries, because people there are young, very hungry, and very well educated. But the problem is that the government doesn't provide that well for them. And there is actually nothing that you can do in the country. So you either move out, or you go into IT sphere, or you go to Web3. That's why crypto adoption is one of the biggest in Ukraine in the world. And actually, I just see how crazy people are in this market. And that's why I see more and more projects from CIS region and from Turkey actually joining the market right now and making mad things out there, just because people there are very creative, very driven forward, and they actually want to bring something really, really valuable here to make their people, to make themselves actually survive and live better lives, right?
Like, it's funny because obviously I run a marketing agency, so projects come to me and they're like, Erhan, like, we have no idea, but Turkey is our biggest community and we've done no marketing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I saw, like, everywhere, every exchange, everything. They'd be like, all right, we have a bunch of people from Turkey. Why? We don't know. And it just, as you said, because, it makes it organically, like a students coming to this events, and same with the people, because people are hungry. People don't know how to save their money with this inflation rate and how to actually survive and how to allow them to buy bread tomorrow as they did it yesterday. And that's why people are just joining Web3. And what do you think is the main payment option like for crypto adopters in Turkey right now? Because the adoption is huge, and maybe you can just share like how it looks for Turkish people whenever they want to operate with their crypto.
Payment for services in Turkey is banned, like by the government. So you can't pay with things for crypto like that. You're not allowed to do that. But obviously, a lot of people are getting their salaries now in USDT, so like they're already in. They can do whatever they want, yield farm, flip, buy meme coins, whatever from there. But on the flip side, when it comes to regulation, there has been a bill recently, I guess 4 or 5 months ago now, that came through that's given like regulatory clarity towards companies that want to register their business in Turkey, which is great because that's been stopping a lot of companies from like really investing in Turkey. So, for example, Coinbase has applied for a license, and a number of massive companies of that size have applied. I think it's like over 300 now. And I think there's a lot more than that. I think this is great, of course, because when I started Istanbul Blockchain Week, it was just like unregulated exchanges. To be honest, that was like the main sponsors at the beginning because they just saw it as a casino market, like just a gambling market. So I'm talking like, at the time it was like, Bybit, FTX, KuCoin, BitGet, etc. Nothing wrong with them, don't get me wrong, but like they weren't like the US regulated exchanges. But then since then we've seen a real growth in like, even our sponsorships has gone from like crypto exchanges, and then let's say this is like technology, like layer 1, layer 2s, and it's just like the flippening is happening, which is great to see because it shows the maturity of the market. And then also like last year, Ethereum Dev Connect chose Istanbul to host it. The biggest developer conference in the Ethereum community chose Istanbul, like developer.
What do you think was the biggest reason of actually choosing Istanbul for it?
I think Istanbul has so many things going for it. I mean, obviously it's like pretty much in the middle of the world.
Everywhere,
yeah. I mean, it's where East meets West. So it's a great meeting point. I don't like to use the word cheap because it's not cheap these days with inflation, but it's cheaper than major, cities, Dubai, London, etc. I mean, obviously it has a major market. Like obviously we've discussed, it has the 4th highest trading volume on Binance. But then as I mentioned to you, all these amazing devs have come in from the CIS region as well. And so I really saw it as a bottom up, top down approach. Like the CIS guys came in and then all the students are no longer students, and they're like young entrepreneurs, and there's kind of like
also like
they're meeting in the middle. And now suddenly, and then obviously DevConnect came in and just basically came in a match onto everything to light up the ecosystem. It's a weird way to say it, but yeah. and then Binance Blockchain Week also chose Istanbul last year as well. So no one can deny. I mean, luckily we as EAK, my agency, we saw this in 2019. And I'm very thankful and happy that Binance and Ethereum Foundation agree with what we thought 5 years ago. A little bit late, but hey, there we go. And so we're really looking forward to planning, next year, which will be it looks like it's going to be in June. Yeah.
Awesome. And you've mentioned a couple of times that Turkey is basically in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
And we have this general approach usually, like when talking about crypto market, that there's like American Web3, Asian Web3, and European Web3. And what do you think Turkey is? Where is it actually located? So which kind of these 3 options you can relate Turkey to?
It's definitely not American, so we can throw that one out. So it's either European or Asian. I would say it's more like Asian than European.
But why do you think so, actually?
But European is still, it's quite highly like, regulated, like the UK, MiCA. The thing is like so many, like I said, like companies from Asia, like target Turkey all the time. Like all the time. Like
exchanges,
DeFi
projects,
ecosystems. Yeah. And then like they're not as like regulatory worried as Europe and US are. So they'll just come in and like, if there's like a gray area, they'll be like, yeah, sure, we'll just sort it out.
Yeah, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a very legit point. I see. And coming back to payments, like still, if it's forbidden to pay with crypto, how people actually spend it? Because as you said, there are a bunch of people in Turkey right now who are earning their income in USDT. And so like from your own perspective, because you are very, very deep in the market, you see it from as local, I would say. How do you think people mostly spend their crypto? Because still they earning money in USDT, they need to go to the grocery store and buy something for tomorrow. And what is the most common way of doing it in Turkey?
Well, look, Binance is still the biggest exchange in Turkey. There has been new regulation now that there's KYC like everywhere you go, so you can't get away from like cashing in and out of crypto. But yeah, I mean, people would just get paid into their Binance wallet and
just P2P
cash
and
it out.
Cash it out. And actually to cash it out, like, is it all about physical exchanges or it's about P2P? Like, what is just a way of doing it?
They integrate with banking.
Okay, so you can just put it to your bank card, straightforward. And how about taxes? Like how actually people operate with this perspective? Because when you're cashing out to your bank account, of course, there could be some questions. So how people deal with it?
I'm sure, like not everyone probably pays their taxes, right? I mean, but they say that in any country.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm not 100% sure on the exact figure of the taxes because I think it's changed. So, I mean, obviously that's completely up to the individual. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure the authority will come knocking on your door if you're cashing out with KYC without paying your taxes.
All right. I understand it because like actually for us, for Kolo, Turkey is a very, very big market. And we also I was just making sure how fully regulated we are there. Just yesterday, applied with all the compliance that we have. So basically, when we launch with our global card, Turkey is going to be one of the first regions where we're going to put our card to. So we're really, really bullishing on helping Turkish people with actually using their crypto. Because main Kolo's concept and what we do the card for crypto bros. And it's the thing that you can literally take your income from farming, staking, trading, whatever, put it to your Kolo wallet, and then directly go and pay for your goods. And not only with USDT, let's say you're holding some meme coins and you literally just take your card with some Pepe on it, boom, pay. And you can get the design, you can get whatever. Like, we trying to make it as native as possible for all the crypto bros. And yeah, and what do you think about it? How it gonna fit Turkish market? Because I really love your expertise. I really love how deeply you are integrated yourself into this market. And how do you see people gonna meet this kind of product?
No, for sure. I mean, look, I've seen a few cards, going around, and there's definitely a need for it. I mean, like I said, in Turkey, they're sensitive when it comes to fees, and so that would be interesting to explore more. What your fees are, and also like what the different assets that you have are available. I mean, I'm assuming obviously when you pay the service provider, it's going to be you've converted it into Turkish lira. So like that's how you get away from like the regulation and stuff.
It's actually very easy. We just have our companies all over the world, and the card that's gonna go to Turkey will be in US dollars. So basically there's just local conversion according to the bank. And when it comes to commission, as you said, like people are very sensitive to it.
Yeah.
And people also are very sensitive to the fact how stable your crypto card is. So basically what we were chasing at the beginning when writing our business deck is to make the most stable card with the lowest fee on the market. So actually our main goal is to, whenever you issue your card, you're not going to have problems with it. Because looking back to the history, we had Binance Card, we had Bybit Card, Wirex, all these companies, there were problems. People were
Visa or MasterCard?
We have MasterCard. Yeah. So basically, whenever people want to issue the card, they just simply go through it in the app. Depends on your region. You either pay small commission or don't pay small commission. I think for Turkey, it's going to be zero commission at all. For card issuing, whenever you get your card, you top up $10 on it and it already works. And what is the beautiful thing, that top up commission is just only 1%. So let's say you send 100 USDT, you get 99 USD on your card and go pay with it.
Nice.
And conversion is according to local market. So it's basically the same thing as having, let's say, European card and paying in Turkey with it.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it? Like, how people going to meet it? Like, it just, I'm just researching through you, right? One on the podcast.
Turkish audience is obviously always interested in these types of, cards and products. Again, it goes back to commission. It also goes back to trust, because there's a lot of card teams where they're not public, or you don't know who they are, and you don't know. I've had a few calls with them, and they never turn the cameras on, things like that. I mean, it's great. We have here. Pretty good many cameras here. But yeah, if your team has a solid background, there's trust there, and then the commissions are low and it's easy to use, then there's no reason why it shouldn't be successful.
And actually about the team, it's a very legit point. And this, I think, what is beautiful about Kolo, because we started developing fintech product around 10 years ago. Like, our background, I would not love to go very deep in that and talk about us that much, because, I want to hear more about you, and we're limited on time. I don't want to waste it. But actually 10 years of building fintech products, one of the first bots on Telegram with crypto exchange, over 5 years of building legal infrastructures. And when we started with Kolo at the beginning of June, we already had over 5 companies registered all around the world to handle our legal side. Nice. We had the whole marketing team, and you see that marketing team works well. Starting from June, we already have over 9 million users, and people are still joining.
9 million. I saw that. It was 8 million when you first sent me it.
So and now it's already 9. And
really?
It's growing rapidly.
Where are these users?
Actually, it's all on Telegram, and that's what I love about Telegram ecosystem. Right now, I think for all the people who are not in Web3, and I was always very, very critical about Web3 products, because since I joined in 2021, I was like, all right, guys, I'm trying to use your product, but I cannot use it. I just don't understand. It looks like crap. I don't have any instruction, any guidances. I just open it up. I understand anything. I go to YouTube. There are no videos about it. And I was like, how you use this thing? And so what is beautiful about Telegram, and how I personally call it, it's a browser for Web2 retail people to Web3 world. Because right now, starting from Notcoin, starting from all the Telegram mini apps, clickers, just for fun, just with some purpose of earning some small portion of money, but people are already joining Web3. They're creating their wallets. They learn the ecosystems. Then they get their drop. They go to exchange. They register an exchange. And it's massive adoption. Hamster Combat, 600 million users in the app.
It's amazing. I mean, it's so
crazy.
Good. Like, I mean, like it's not even just Ton though. Like, it's great for the wider ecosystem because they're coming into Ton.
Yeah.
But then they're learning about holding things in a wallet, like you said, using an exchange. Then naturally they're going to start reading more articles and watch YouTube. And then let's be honest, they're going to bridge to other stuff, buy other things, and then they're going to be in the ecosystem, buy NFTs, whatever in the future. And then it's amazing. So like the Ton, the Telegram Messenger, 900 million users that they say like. It's amazing for the whole industry. It's bullish for Ton, but it's bullish for all of us. It doesn't matter what you're building.
Very right thing. Like, you mentioned Ton a couple of times, but what I just see beautiful about Telegram, that there is no push to Ton.
Yeah.
Of course, like native wallet in Telegram is Ton integrated and so on and so forth. But the products that are running as TMA, so basically in this format of mini app in Telegram, it's not supposed to be Ton only. There are Solana apps, BNB apps, like Binance is really bullishing right now on Telegram. They launched their own clicker and they just pushing this ecosystem. We are participating in their MVP product for Telegram mini apps, and they just they see how great potential this market has. And so right now I just see all the ecosystems trying to join Telegram just because this is, as I said, a browser to Web3 for the people. Because before that, like how it looked, you open, like you either use a Safari or you go to your MetaMask and use this. I'm sorry, MetaMask, but the browser is not good inside. And basically, it was just not comfortable for the people. And now everything looks like the App Store, but it's inside of your Telegram.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. You see how many users, you understand the instructions. Straight from there, you go to community, chat with people, have their connections, make separate group. And it's all about making connections, socializing on the web, and doing what you love. And that's why communities are building that fast. Because, I joined the market when there was no Telegram yet. And, it was not that bullish on this ecosystem. But then one of my friends, like after 1 year I spent in Web3 space and I was doing stuff for exchanges and I saw how complicated it is to build communities. And I just didn't get this point. Like, why is it so complicated? Like you push your product on X, but then the conversion from X to your web page is low. And, in general, everyone was trying to invent something. I was really skeptical about marketing agencies because, everyone is marketing agency around it. And as you said, nobody has experience. Nobody knows what they do. They just come to you and be like, yeah, we got to make you marketing. What they did, go to Zeely, go to Galaxy, launch some quests getting some fake community to your Twitter. And then you'd be like, okay, so you just shilled my product in a couple of shillers all over Twitter. You launched 2 campaigns on this big platforms and you charge me $25,000 for it. I mean, doesn't really work. And with Telegram right now, I finally see that there is such thing as Web3 marketing. Because before that, it was only like you, people who were there from the beginning, people who really knew what they do, and it was the only option to get high quality service on the market.
Yeah.
Everything else was crap. Right now, it's way different because mechanics are very simple. Exchange of communities, paid promotions, and how it actually works inside of Telegram. Very, very easy to use.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that was a great speech, by the way, for Tom. Telegram in general. We should definitely clip that on a short. But yeah, no, I think, look, 100%. I mean, look, as an agency, we're super excited about the fact that the Telegram's 900 million users, I mean, the majority of them, I think, are like Web3, especially if they're coming through the apps, like Notcoin and things like that, and Hamster Combat. Obviously, they're Web3, like enabled or native, whatever you want to say, because like they understand concepts of airdrops and, tap games and things like that. So, and then also, like, there's actually a lot of like cheap traffic, if I'm being honest, like, to help to drive it into, well, whoever of our clients might want that traffic. But then that traffic is then obviously qualified traffic. It's not just like buying, views and all that crap from just like, for $10 on Instagram, and things like that. It's like, it's actually target traffic. And the real issue, I mean, look, no one can deny the scale of Ton. No one can deny the amount of users they have. No one can deny the amount that, I mean, I've been using Telegram ever since I got into crypto. It is the home of like, the community of crypto. It always has been. But the real question is like, how sticky are those users and how much money, I work with exchanges all the time. Some of the big exchanges, we do tons of stuff. I got great relationships with the KOLs. We do affiliate deals on volume, blah, 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 blah. And so I'm like, oh, maybe if I can drive the traffic from Ton, in my mind. But then I think because there's a lot of users that are in third world nations that they don't have big budgets, at least not yet. Hopefully they do at the top of this bull run. But like, so it's good. I see it's great for in like terms of adoption. It's great for numbers. But then my question in the back of my mind, but then how sticky are these people? As in, like, are they just going to, I mean, I think they do keep jumping around for different airdrops. You know, and are they going to stay and be a real community member of like that token or that project after they receive the airdrop? And then two, if you're looking at it from like how much money do they have, like, are they going to be depositing thousands and thousands of dollars and become a great user? I'm not sure about that. Those are the questions that I have. Maybe you have insight on those two things.
Actually, I have the same chain of questions.
Yeah.
And how I say, we'll see on this bull run.
Yeah.
As you said, we really think that all these people going to have their deposits during this bull run and the market going to grow.
Yeah.
So, but actually, there is no other way of growing this market right now. I always thought that the biggest problem of crypto is that Web3 projects making projects for other Web3 projects. And there is like this inside circulation of people.
Yeah.
You're basically making product for DGens, which they like. Then these DGens get their deposits. Then they make the product for other DGens. But, you know, there are no more DGens. And it's very complicated to acquire people from Web2. That's why I was very bullishing at the beginning of my career to Quest platforms, because Quest platforms actually drive people from Web2 to Web3. And, you know, the main concept of Quest platforms was to give some reward to people for doing something, for learning, for actually being a part of the ecosystem. And then what TMAs have actually brought, that even without this deep learning, even without doing transactions, creating your wallet and so on and so forth, you get engaged. And whenever you get your airdrop, even if it's like $5 or $10, you still would love to withdraw it.
Yeah.
And you would still have to go to Binance, let's say, to Bybit, to other exchange, and make the account there, see how your token is trading. Then you will have 10 USDT and be like, okay, should I buy something else? And how does it work? Should I go to YouTube and see Binance Academy, or go to your channel, see some podcasts and see, you know, like what people are doing around? And this is the thing that I think driving people forward right now.
I mean, I love it because obviously, like I said, in those kind of like developing economies, obviously that's where crypto Web3 can make the largest difference, right? So the fact that Ton is tapping into those areas and onboarding all of them, I think like it's a net positive to the world on another scale. But then on the other side, so you've got Ton over here, and you've got Base, which obviously Coinbase, which is obviously the largest like US, you know, exchange and probably the largest in the world. They're obviously with their Base ecosystem now, like you can actually like just bridge out into a wallet, a Base wallet, like with no gas fee, like they'd sponsor it for free. So they're going to be onboarding like, and you've probably heard about smart wallets that they're doing.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to make it so easy. So they're going to be onboarding tons and tons of people from like the developed markets, and tons on the other side, bringing everyone from the underdeveloped markets, which hopefully will become developed markets in the future. And then we're going to be hopefully getting this kind of like rise. I don't want to say mass adoption, because I don't want to like be like, oh, we're going to make it in the next year or two. But like there is these kind of two dominant forces, right? With Base and Ton. I know Base has still got like it's still coming up and they've got a token, things like that. But I don't think that matters. Like I see them as a major like player for like bringing the mainstream in. And so and then you know, back to Ton. Like obviously, I mean, I do business in Turkey. Like, you know, I hire lots of people in all kinds of areas in the world, and I just think I always see like the odd land of opportunity from like those markets. You know, I mean, as an agency owner, clients coming to us now, they're not really looking for KOLs in the US or like, you know, these like big developers. They're looking for Nigerian KOLs, Indian KOLs, Pakistani KOLs, Vietnamese KOLs, Thailand KOLs. And I'm like, okay.
But it's scary to make business in the US right now. Let's be honest. I've talked, like we've been on Gidex a couple of days ago, and we just hang around Dubai here.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to the projects and I'm being like, guys, what do you think about US market? They'd be like, brother, ooh, what's that?
Yeah.
People just don't
Tumbleweed.
want, like, projects are very scared to get there right now because US regulatories are just pushing. And I see less and less projects being actually interested in the US market, even though the market is huge. People have a bunch of money there. Like we see Solana and their meme coin campaigns. Like it's crazy how big amounts of money people would just inflow into the market, even though it was my personal opinion. I'm sorry, but just gambling. Meme coin market is just pure gambling. You never know how it's going to work out. No utility, no nothing. Just depends on the volumes, right?
Yeah.
And still, people were just, all right, take my money, take my money, take my money. And it's pity that for now we see this kind of thing. And I don't know if we can be political on this podcast or not, but like maybe just without dropping the names or events, how do you think the US market gonna change in the upcoming year? I think in an upcoming month.
Well, look, I think we can say, right? If Donald Trump wins, obviously it's hugely bullish for crypto. I think everyone is already aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's going to be that bad if Kamala Harris wins anyway, because at the end of the day, we're on the precipice. If we've probably already started the banana zone now, so like we're already in like the perfect timing anyway. Trump is just again more oil on the on the crazy green candles. I mean, look, I'm not sure if many people paid much attention, but there's a big case of Crypto.com just sued the SEC like about a week or two ago. And I don't think it's really come into the mainstream consciousness too much, but like they're basically questioning the SEC for like the complete authority of the SEC's action against all crypto companies and whether they even have any right at all to even step in. And so they're not fighting on 1 or 2 points here. They're fighting on the whole jurisdiction of the SEC on crypto and tokens. And so that's a major, major deal. Crypto.com obviously have so much money. I mean, they used to be one of our clients, and they're just constantly they were throwing money around at the time, and they've got so many users. So Chris, the CEO, I know him well. Good luck, Chris. If you're watching, because if he wins that, then I think the US market then suddenly gets a massive upsurge. But I mean, it's only a matter of time. I mean, Gary Gensler and his cronies can only hold the door, as they say on. He can only hold it for so long. I mean, eventually, the cat's coming out the bag, whether you like it or not. There's just too much. There's too much. The US is too big a market to just hold it back for that long. I mean, obviously, I'm in the events business. I saw CoinDesk have moved now Consensus to Toronto next year, so they've actually moved out of America completely, which is just wild to me because CoinDesk is America in my mind.
Exactly.
So they first started in New York when I was back in 2019, I think it was. Then they moved to Austin. I'm sure they got a nice handout from Austin to move there. And then now they've moved completely out the US to Toronto in February, and they're also doing one in Hong Kong, and they've got more going around the world. And it is wild to think that the US is just a place where nobody really wants to do business in crypto. I heard permissionless the other day. And also last year wasn't that well attended. I think that's the event by Masari, if I'm not mistaken. Masari do mainnet. It's Blockworks, sorry. And so it is random, to be honest with you. That but like I said, it's such a big market that eventually they're gonna push through. But let's see if the US election turns out the way that I think it will.
All right. Yeah, that's very legit point. I really love this speech right now. And actually for our listeners, for our viewers, let's see how it's going to look in the future. I would love to have some comments from the people from 3 months up front and see how it actually is.
Yeah.
And what I love about this kind of thoughts that are being spoken out on the podcast, that then you watch it in, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years, already seeing how different the market is. I mean, all right, we were right, or I think I was wrong.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, these are all just predictions. I work with some of the biggest influencers, right? And some people go back and say, oh, look, you were wrong, you were right. It was well, yeah.
It's nobody's never right.
Yeah.
How is it it's only my vision, my predictions, how I see it. I it's how people say, not a financial advice, right?
Yeah.
So basically this is just a vision, and at the end we'll see who was right and who was wrong. And that's the cool thing about this market and about life in general. I would say I would be really philosophical right now, but it's all about how you feel it, how you treat it, and how you oversee it. And this is what we are actually doing in here.
I just think, look, just find something that you're really passionate about within the space, whatever it is, whether it's payments, whether it's marketing, whether it's God knows custody. It could be super boring stuff, but it doesn't matter. As long as you're interested in it, and just apply yourself day in, day out, 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 day in.
Exactly.
And just be part of the future. It is clearly the future. It's clearly to be honest with you, AI is getting really exciting as well.
Yeah.
But then the symbiosis of AI and blockchain is also super exciting because obviously we've all got these thoughts about, oh, if AI becomes too powerful, who's going to control it? But then obviously if it's got blockchain integrated into it, then at least would give humans some level of control of the AI. But anyway, this is a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, whole nother podcast.
But in general, of course, this space is not slowing down. We're going to have a bear market again, probably, let's say in where are we now? 8 to 12 months time. And lots of people are going to disappear again. Meme coins are going to zero. And we reboot, and lots of people are getting wrecked, and lots of people are going to make $10 million and then leave with like $500. Like it's the same thing over and over again.
It's part of a process.
It's weird, but I love it when the price goes down, and I get so much FOMO when the price goes up that like I generally prefer it when it's like less frothy. Like, you know, all of like retail has disappeared, and like just the real people that like believe in crypto and want to build and like have been here for a long time, we can actually have some time to like regroup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what just happened? You know, like
it's like, all right, guys, what has just happened? All right, all these people left. Now we can talk.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, being on a party and then all the people who are not really your friends leaving, you just sit in a corner and be like, okay, guys, what was it?
You turn the lights on at 5 a.m. You got Celsius Network like dead in the corner. You know, 3 hours Capital like hanging out the window. But no, it's not funny, obviously, because like at my conference for Blockdown Festival in Croatia in 2022, the lunar crash happened during my event. And so like so many people, like there were guys who are going, oh, I don't want to go on stage anymore. I was like, why is that? I've lost like $3 million. Like,
was it right on a conference?
Same day. Like,
Wow. Yeah. Tell me more about it.
So Blockdown was actually launched so believe it or not, we had to cancel our first 2 Istanbul Blockchain weeks because of COVID.
Oh.
So that sucked. So like as an entrepreneur, you know, I was 26, 27 at the time. So it was a big thing for me to say, right, I'm booking this 5-star hotel, Hilton, Bomonti in Istanbul. I actually had CZ on the lineup for the first one, you know, and a number of great other speakers. And I actually lent against my Bitcoin and Ethereum to pay for this on Nexo. Because obviously I'm never sell diamond hands, you know, kind of guy. And then
remember, guy.
And then, of course, I was thinking, well, all right, I'll do that, pay for everything, get the sponsor money and pay them back. And, you know, it never works out, by the way. Like, it never works out like that.
Whenever you're planning the financials of the event, never going to work out.
Like, it never works out when you're loaning, you know, just always try to stay in spot, you know, just in general. Anyway, I've learned my lesson. I'd never, ever lend against my crypto ever again. Yeah, so, you know, we got some good sponsors. You know, I was ready to do the deal and pay Nexo back. And then, obviously, this was going into March 2020. Our first event was supposed to be in April 2020. And then we had to cancel it, of course, because of COVID. Then the Hilton was holding on to my money. Like, they were scared. Obviously, they're a hotel. They're worried that there's going to be no travel, going to have no income. I still thought, I mean, come on, it's nothing compared to like how much money they make. I'm just an individual. And then obviously the sponsors wanted their money back, which is fair enough. You know, take your money back. But then obviously Bitcoin went down to like 3,200. So my collateral went right down, and I got liquidated of like tons and tons of ETH and Bitcoin. Oh. And I was like, oh, it sucked so much because it was such a gamble. Like, you know when you feel nervous about doing something in your career for the first time, and like I always see that, you know, I've read enough business books to know that like to use that when you get scared, that's when you should do something, right? It's like that's the only way you're going to evolve. If you don't like go out of your comfort zone, you're not going to grow as an entrepreneur or whatever it is. And so I was like, okay, this scares me, but like I like that it scares me, so I'm going to do it. And now I can do Istanbul Blockchain Week in my sleep. I've done it 3 times in real life too. I've had to cancel. And anyway, so long story short, so yeah, we canceled it. I got wrecked. You know, I was upset for a couple of weekends, but you know, literally when you've been in crypto as long as me, I've made lots of money, lost lots of money, made lots of money, lost lots of money, like money. It's just like whatever, you know. It's just you wake up one day you're kind of like crypto rich. Next day you're struggling to like find the dust in your wallets to like pay everyone off. It's just such a weird place.
It's like in my favorite meme about it, when stock investor have minus 5% on their investment, they're very stressed. Crypto investor with minus 95, drinking coffee and chilling. Same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So then I and because of the COVID, I had to like move back home, and I wanted to move back home. I think after my mom, like she's single and she lives by herself, and so I was like, I don't want her to go through this by herself. So anyway, I went back home. I was like upset for a few days, and then I was like, oh, do you know what? My lineup is so good of speakers. Like like I said, I had CZ. Charles Hoskinson, I had so many big names. And I was like, right, why don't I just like remove the Turkish part, like add more of international, and then become like the first ever live virtual event. Nice. And we actually did it, 1 week after the Istanbul Blockchain was supposed to be. So I only had 5 weeks to sort this out. And then so I was scrambling around. I was looking like, who knows how to create a virtual event? This is before all the virtual platforms existed, like Hopin and all that. This was like way before that. And so I was looking around, and I found these guys called Crypto 101 podcast. Maybe some of your listeners know who they are. It's a good podcast. And then I saw they'd done a virtual event. So I was like, okay, I reached out to them. I called them up and I was like, hey guys, like I've got this like crazy idea, but I want to like bring I want to do a live 12-hour virtual event for 2 days. So people can join from Asia, obviously right through to the Middle East, right through to Europe, and also East Coast and West Coast before we finished. And then they were like, oh, yeah, that sounds interesting. And I was like, so you've done it before, right? And they were like, oh, no, I mean, we just recorded everything on StreamYard and then just like posted it as a live. And I was like, well, that's not great.
Yeah.
But I was still like trying to like get anyone to help me. I was like, well, do you think you guys could like maybe help me out? Because I didn't know anything about streaming at that time. And they're like, oh, Erhan, like, it sounds interesting. Like, we'll get back to you tomorrow. And I was like, cool. So I got off the phone thinking, oh, maybe there's like some small signs of recovery from this. So then I called them. I was expecting them to be like, yeah, we want to help you with this. Yeah, let's go, And they were like, Erhan, you've got some of the biggest names in the industry in your space. Like, no one's done this kind of like live stream for this long. You're probably gonna have tons and tons of technical problems. And you're gonna make a fool out of yourself in front of everyone. Like, you got CZ coming. You had like Charles Hoskinson, Justin Sun, all these guys. Like, and what happens if it all technically breaks down? And I was like, well, that's what I'm here to figure out. And they're like, no, sorry, we like, honestly, if you want our advice, like, don't do it. And I was like, so again, for like a day or two, I was down. I was thinking, oh, maybe they're right, But my personality has always been like, try to prove people wrong.
See, you love taking risks.
Yeah, that's why I'm in crypto. Yeah. So then anyway, we did it, and then also at the time I was working with Akon. That's a crazy curveball to throw in there. So he got into crypto through Brock Pierce, and he launched this project called Acoin.
Yeah.
And so I used to live in LA just before COVID hit, so like I got into that kind of circle. And it was an honor to meet him, by the way. Like, I used to dance to his songs at uni, on the tables and stuff. I'm glad you don't have pictures of that. But anyway, so then I was like, I spoke to Akon's manager and was like, if I do this virtual event, like, will Akon join us as the keynote speaker and things? And they were like, yeah, 100%, we're behind you. Anything you do, we'll support it. So that also gave me like more of an impetus to do it, because I was like, wow, I could have Akon in my conferences. And obviously, as like I said, someone that grew up listening to his songs, I thought that was cool. And then anyways, so yeah, he was there. Anyway, we did it. We created this whole metaverse, like literally this meta. So you could go in, you could dress up as your favorite. You could even be a meme, like a sheet. What was it? Doge back then. Doge was pretty much the only meme back then. And you could wear like Cardano or polka dot or whatever t-shirt you wanted to. You could walk around, and we had booths. And you could dance. You could like, we had a really cool. It was like a space station. If you remember like Final Fantasy, like way back in the day. Yeah. But then we also had an after party that which was sponsored. We had live DJ, like the live DJ, like in an underground bunker in Amsterdam, DJing. And then we had like on the wall of the metaverse, we had like a massive screen so like you could see him, and everyone was like doing these dances. It was super cool. And then we also ended up doing one of the following events. We did a live metaverse boat party.
Metaverse boat party.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy.
We kept trying to iterate. Now, obviously, I don't want to like spend the whole podcast obviously talking about lockdown, but like it was a crazy experience. We ended up doing 6 or 7 of them during the lockdown period, and we kept trying to like iterate. But the idea behind it was like, how do we like put a smile on people's faces while still, so have fun, but while still doing serious content. Yeah, we had like Michael Casey and CZ. We had like Eric Voorhees, like a legend from Bitcoin. We had Edward Snowden and Gavin Wood do a fireside chat. We had the mayor of Miami, Akon, etc., etc., etc. And so, but then we were always trying to like, how can we build like how can we make this like native into Web3? So like, we're doing like NFT drops. We had like QR codes like running around the screen that you had to like catch and with your phone. And we did a Halloween edition. We did a LATAM edition in Spanish. Like, it goes on and on and on. We had a 1-year anniversary. We had this DJ set from our mascot, which was called Brian, and he did a whole hour-long DJ set, and everyone was like vibing in the chat, and like it was a really great community that we eventually brought to life in 2022, which is when COVID disappeared, and we decided to launch Blockdown Festival. Blockdown Festival was because again, I had Istanbul Blockchain Week in my pocket. I was like, I don't want to create another business conference. Like, what's the point? I mean,
it was something to make it entertaining, but still informative, right?
And like then there's a gap in the market, because at the time, like creator economy was massively kicking off. Like NFTs, metaverse, and obviously we're getting in artists and musicians, etc. And obviously I love festivals. I'm from the UK, and so then I was like, okay, well, why don't we try and build a Web3 festival? And then Croatia is like a great place for festivals in Europe anyway. And then we brought it to life in Croatia. And then the following year we did it in Portugal. In Croatia we had boat parties. We had a mystical forest. We had a bullish beach club. We had one of those like Game of Thrones style fortresses where we did a big party that overlooks like the whole town in Croatia. It was by the sea. It was beautiful. We had sound healing. We had like excursions to local waterfalls. We had a massive NFT gallery. Like we actually had a gamified experience where like the more different activities. That's what the focus was, to like build relationships. It wasn't just like here's a booth, here's a booth. It was like the more activities, the more boat party, the more sound healing, the more bike riding, the more yoga, whatever it is that you did, like the more points that you would get. And so we had like a live leaderboard like in the exhibition area, and then it was live at real time updating and based on your like kind of NFT character that you minted. So which I really enjoyed that whole process of coming up with that creatively. And then anyway, we did that in 2022. Brought it to Portugal in 2023. Last year it was in the Algarve, so I was planning to move to Portugal before I moved to Dubai. And then we had like PSG Football Club came in, did a speech. We had the McLaren Formula One team came in, did a speech. We did a whole metaverse fashion show, but like an IRL version with like metaverse inspired fashion. We had an NFT music takeover with like some music artists that had like minted their own albums and done really well. We had Bored Ape yacht parties and we had like a big beach barbecue, and everyone had a great time there. And so even as an entrepreneur in general, I'm always trying to like do something that has an edge, do something that has a difference, do something that I don't want to just copy pasta like everything like people are always doing, copy paste. And so, yeah, we're hopefully going to bring Brock Down back to life again next year.
So, how to be a guest, man.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it'd be great.
That's awesome. And I love this approach of bringing something new. There are two opinions. Some people say that everything is already invented and it's impossible to bring something new. And different approach, which I personally respect, is that, everything is already invented, but just don't copy paste. You can get the inspiration. It's still like, it's learning. You go to this event, then you take your whole experience, put it together, put the piece of yourself into it and do something new. And nobody gonna say that, it's a copy paste of all this 50,000 events you visited. No, it's my personal experience and my personal vision of how events should look like after visiting all these events. And that's awesome. And the product, I think the same. Because right now people say like, why do we need another exchange? Why do we need another wallet? Why do we need another this or that? But just because out of all the products that are appearing on the market, there will be couple of those which are going to be really amazing with new experience, with new approach. Maybe just the button is going to be aligned differently, but people are going to love it. It's going to be more comfortable for you to use. And that's how I see the progress on this market, actually. Products getting better and better and better, new design, new features, new use cases, and they all become better and better. So comparing to what we had on the market 3 years ago and what we have now, it's okay to use crypto products right now. I wouldn't say that they are very comfortable yet, but getting more and more comfortable. And as I was mentioning, like it's getting more and more comfortable for user to use it. And that's why we have more people joining the space. And so I think my last take, because of course I'm gonna be as well selfish and putting Kolo into it. Like, what is your opinion on wallets? Like, how do you personally store your crypto, if it's not a secret, of course? And which kind of pieces of advice you can get to our listeners?
Again, it depends how much you have, right?
Yeah,
because obviously, if it's a lot, I use third-party custody provider these days because I trust them. Like for like the stuff that you never want to touch. And then those are like really rainy day funds, like if the shit hits the fan and you really need money or you want to make a massive purchase. And so I do that because I think self-custody is a risk at the moment. Like, people that are rolling around with ledgers and stuff. I know personally some KOLs that have been like kidnapped and lost over €1 million.
Whoa.
Recently.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So just for having a ledger.
They had it on their phone, even worse. But there's some areas that, look, think about it. DevCon's happening in Thailand. It's a third world country. Yeah. They like the police isn't probably the most
no shame to Thailand.
No, it could be anywhere. I'm just saying that, if anyone's watching this and they're thinking of going to Thailand, like they should be careful.
Exactly.
And not just Thailand, but some of the local authorities there are in on all of this.
I think that's why you are in Dubai. Because here, I don't believe that this kind of thing can actually happen.
Yeah, Dubai is safe, thank God. And that's why one of the reasons why I love being here. But like in general, yes, I think it's okay to have. I think self-custody obviously is good with a ledger. But again, it depends how much we're talking about.
Yeah.
If it's good for like a personal savings, fine. Like it's much better than holding it on an exchange, obviously. But if we're talking like big numbers, then I still think it's better to have like a very well respected and custodian. However, obviously, day to day, I use OKX wallet, if I'm being honest, right now, which I'm not plugging OKX. Like I used to use MetaMask, but it's so clunky, it's so bad. Sorry,
MetaMask, but I agree with you.
It's so bad I mean, I eventually I tried OKX wallet out, and I just really like their UI UX, and I love how like it's so easy to swap between different blockchains, and yeah, I just stick with it because it's working. And so yeah, I would obviously keep a certain amount on a hot wallet, right, and then a large amount really in the custody. Yeah, and then that's how I do it. And I've got a bit on exchanges, but like nothing that I would cry about if I was hacked.
Yeah, that's actually a very legit point, because I personally, I used to hold most of my money on cold wallets and on hot wallets, but also Web3 wallets. But then I just got very, very tired of this Web3 experience with hot wallets, as MetaMask, for example. It just, every time you need to make a transaction, I was crying before doing that. When people were saying that you need to send me some crypto, I was like, no, please, I don't want to go to this app and do it.
Yeah.
So that's actually why in Kolo, we're making the hybrid wallet. So we have 3 options for all the types of people. If you are DGen type of person, we have Web3 wallet for you with a seed phrase, with everything. Go work with it. It's your opinion. I mean, I respect it. I don't like it personally. We have self-custodial options for people who want to have it more kind of easy to use, but still secure.
Yeah.
And of course, we have custodial solution. And I personally love custodial solutions the most. Okay, of course, for the money that I can spend. So, nothing like, my lifetime savings or something, but just for the money that I use on a daily basis, custodial options. Sorry, guys, but I'm that, not degen type of person. I just love to have it in a convenient way. I love to click one button, send it to somebody else. Don't think about gas commission. Don't think about bridging. Don't think about anything. I have USDT on Tron. I swap it to Ton, send it to my Ton friends, then do it to other chains, send it to other friends. And basically, it's just very, very convenient. So that's why in Kolo, we made 3 options for all the people, and each option works with Crypto Card. So basically, whoever you are, which type of person you are in this market, we got your back covered.
I mean, it is good because like even for me, okay, I use OKX wallet, but I don't have OKX card. So like if I need to like pay off credit cards or whatever, I have to like send money into like Binance, do P2P because we're in the UAE, and then like that takes half an hour to wait for them to send it, and then so the whole process is taking me like an hour to like put it into like my Web2 card. Whereas obviously, if I had a card just related to my wallet, I wouldn't have to mess around with that.
Exactly, and that's how I joined Kolo. I remember back then I was struggling a lot with actually cashing out my crypto, and every time, like this is such a shame when you're sitting in a restaurant with some friends, or I'm sorry, with lady, and it's just awful situation. You just open up your credit card and you see your debit card and you see that there's no money, and you're just like, okay, I need to cash out. You go to P2P, you launch the order, and then you see this guy response rate is 2 hours, and you're like, my God, what am I gonna do now? And then I found out about crypto cards, but then I just saw that it's very complicated to get one. There's no information, and you literally don't understand whether it's supported in your region or not. You open the forum and see that people say that, it is available here, but it doesn't work that well, and it breaks up every 2 days, and I have problems. And I had this lack of understanding how it's gonna work, whether it's something suitable for me or not. And I was just, kind of floating around. But then we just came up with the idea of bringing that like convenient solution for the market. I was like, okay. And before that, I also wanted to open another crypto card, but actually I have Belarusian passport, but I have my permission to live in Europe. So, I wanted to open an account for me, but they said, no, you have Belarusian passport and it's a restricted area, even though I had European permission to live.
Right.
And so I was mad crazy about it. I was already like, okay, why can't I do me a crypto card? I want a crypto card.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, Dimitri, we have an idea. I was like, okay, this is the thing. This is the sign. And that's why we are here. That's why we're recording this podcast. And that's why we have 9 something million users already in our app.
Crazy, man. Yeah, 9 million users. I mean, but they haven't got 9 million cards, right?
No, not million cards. Just users. When it comes to cards, we already crossed the limit of 600,000 people in the whitelist for the card. And not gonna lie, we already have over 50K people who KYC.
We can get them in Dubai as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, yeah, I should probably get one then.
Of course, man. I will text you. We'll make the personal one for you. And we'll make it
really?
For sure.
Oh, okay, now we're talking. yeah. Good flex, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. No, it sounds great. What you guys are building. Obviously, it's needed for mainstream adoption. And honestly, the example you made, I've been there so many times. Like
Yeah.
even me, like my car's declined so many times because I'm all in all the time. I'm just all in.
Yeah.
I'm an all or nothing going everything. Whatever I do, I give it my 100%.
Nice.
Otherwise, I won't do it. So like with crypto, it's just all in, all in, all in. So like, yeah, all the time. It's shit.
Yeah, it's
Decline, especially if you're with a girl.
yeah, just sitting with the red face, being like, I'm sorry, and you just like, all right,
the bathroom for like half an hour.
yeah, call your friends, yo, bro, can you like help me out? You know, I will send you USDT later, but you know, it's a very cringy situation right now. You're like,
sometimes you make it by the skin of your teeth. You're like, it's like the bills, let's say $150, you got like $152. You're like,
and it's just like, whoo, man. And you know, trying to present everything good and be like, okay,
yeah,
$1, but that's all right.
No, it's funny. I'm looking forward, hopefully, to cashing out this time and you know making the right decisions.
Yeah,
I mean, for people that it's a first bull run in, good luck.
Yeah,
you know, it's just so easy to get so greedy and start leveraging up and just throwing in all of your gains back into the market and then losing them on the way down. Yeah, that's what I did the first time around. It's stupid, really. But I think it's a what did you call it? It's like a I feel like you just have to do it. Like, if you haven't done it, then you have to get it done, and then you'll learn from there.
Exactly.
So it's it's just one of those things. But no, I'm like I said, I'm sitting very comfortable in spot this time, and I'm very happy with that. I'm not like over leveraged or going long on like a bunch of crap coins.
I see.
Yeah.
Maybe question. You know, of course, not a financial advice. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Top 5 takes for you on spot positions.
I mean, I love Super, which is Superverse, which is Elio Trades' project. You know, he's somebody that I've known for 5+ years, and he works like an absolute machine, and he's a very respectable guy. He knows lots of people, and everyone wants to work with him. And he's integrating Super into like every single Web3 game in some way, shape, or form. So if you're bullish on gaming, you know, Off the Grid did really well recently, so that's brought gaming back to like the mainstream crypto attention. So I think Super is going to do great. I mean, top 5 is difficult to say because I haven't like thought about it in my head exactly which 5, but like I'd just say 5 random.
Yeah, just 5 random. Let's say.
Yeah, obviously Arrow's really good on base, the AMM of base. Like I think that's got a long way to go. If you believe that base is going to blow up, which I think it will, like with the amount of users it's going to onboard, then it's basically the Uniswap of base. So yeah, I think Arrow is going to do really well. Other coins that I'm bullish on. I mean, obviously there's Sol and Ton. I mean, I'm not teaching anyone anything there. You know, everyone knows that already. I mean, I think Metis is going to do really well in the short term.
Metis?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mark my word on that.
Yeah, I've been in touch with their team for a while. Like,
really? It's already been doing very well the last few weeks.
Yeah, they're doing great. They're doing great right now.
No,
I love how impactful they are to their ecosystem. Like, if you want to launch a project on Metis ecosystem, you know what they did first? They put it to their webpage with the community. So community decides whether it's going to be something interesting for them, whether it's going to be something, you know, useful for their ecosystem. And then they do this public voting, and only then they accept you. So it couldn't be like that. You come to them, say, yo, can we have a partnership? And they just like, yeah or not. They put it to community decides, and then they come back to you. So Metis makes it in a very, very interesting way. And yeah, I'm also bullishing on them.
Bullish on Metis, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Brett as well, obviously, like the way that they invest, like they really like back their token. They spend so much money on sports sponsorships, and I know that personally because my friend, you know, does that with them, and like I think they're blue chip, you know, already on base ecosystem. What else out there? I mean, what are you bullish on? Actually, outside of Ton and
outside of Ton, not gonna lie, ETH, BTC, and Ton. That's 3 takes I have.
Yeah, but you're not making life-changing money.
Yeah, of course. But this is the thing. It's gonna be my first bull market in my entire crypto career because you know I'm very young here. I'm not trying to pretend that I'm super big expert with 10 years of experience. I'm still learning. I'm not making very risky things. Never in my life, especially when I don't feel confident.
That's where we're different.
Yes.
like whenever I'm looking to buy stuff, I'm like, right, 50 million market cap. What can do at least 10 to 20 to 30
All right.
I don't think anyone's in crypto to make a 60% move. I mean, well, maybe like some people are, but like in general, because at the end of the day, you can put 10% in 10 positions. And if one of them does a major move, you're going to make more money than an ETH move.
Yeah. That's actually true. But from my perspective, is that I'm not sitting on the market 24/7. What I do is I'm building products,
Yeah.
and basically I'm being very involved into the product side, not into trading side. So that's why I'm not trying to pretend to be trader. I'm not trying to pretend to be very smart investor and understanding everything in the market, having all the insider information, and so on and so forth. Even though I have a lot of insider information from talking to the projects, it's just a thing that I want to see this first bull cycle in my life. I'm very scared of it, and I'm very excited of it.
Scared?
Yes.
Why?
Because of FOMO. FOMO
Oh, yeah.
hits hard. And so that's why, I'm just having this decision. I'm sitting in these three positions. And of course, I also have a bunch of random stuff, but it's all just to have it. And so I personally just see that I want to have to see some growth, like 50%, maybe 30%, just to have the proper understanding how it all looks, see how other tokens perform, see how people act in this crazy cycle. Because, this craziness gets all around whenever bull cycle starts. And yeah, for me personally, I'm learning, I'm touching, I'm seeing, and of course, not a financial advice, not putting it to anyone.
But it's true. I mean, look, I've got my spreadsheet from 2021 bull run, and honestly, I know it's cliche, but like 95% of it was vaporware, like nonsense. And I was leveraging my quality coins to throw into those private rounds, for the but the one or two that did well easily was more money than by far than I invested in. So it is a bit like a numbers game. Obviously investing early stage, but then if you catch one, you're made.
It's like VC type of making business.
Yeah,
it's literally like when you're your own VC, but you just don't buy it on OTC, you just buy it on the exchange, and that's it.
I mean, I've already made some really bad moves actually in this bull run where I just got too bullish, threw in like a lot, and it just flopped all the way down. But like I said, I care, but not that much because it's crypto. The money will come back around again. The markets will come up. So, you just, like I said, you just got to take the rough with the smooth. It happens. And who knows, because the bull market's coming or it's here. It's potentially those projects could come back. I'm not a trader either, by the way. I don't have time to trade. I'm working on my business 18 hours a day. So
18 hours per day.
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot. When do you sleep? When do you have your social life?
I sleep, I average 5 hours a night, according to my Whoop band.
And how do you feel?
Yeah, pretty tired these days because I'm 33. I'm 10 years older than you, unfortunately. So I am starting to feel it a little bit. But then it's if you don't party as much as you did before, you can still feel good. 5, 6 hours. I wish I could sleep 8, 9 hours. I just can't.
Yeah, I just
and my brain is just constantly on thinking, about how to, grow your business or how to come up with a new idea. And then obviously Telegram's just people sending you things 24/7. So I'm always somebody that looks at Telegram if I go to the loo or something at the toilet at 5 a.m. And then I've looked at it, and then obviously your brain starts spinning, and then that's it. It's game over from there. But no, I mean I'm just so passionate about this space and this industry and my business and the other things I've got going on that I don't care about sleep or whatever. It's you can make outsized return. You can change your entire wealth line, the generational line, your kids, their kids, their kids, their kids, their kids. If you make the right decision. So who cares? I don't want to swear. Who cares about an extra hour or two sleep?
Exactly.
Whatever. Sleep when you're sat on whatever stack you want to be sat on. Sleep as much as you want after that. I want to work as much as I possibly can now, so that when I am super tired all the time and have a big family or have decided to have a family, I can be a great, husband, father, brother, son, etc. to all my family without having to worry about where's the next paycheck coming in. So anyone that's true. I don't want to work weekends, or why are you working on a Saturday? I'm why are you not working on a Saturday? This is crypto.
You just wasting your time.
Yeah.
That's why we are here on Sunday, guys.
It's a Sunday. Exactly. When sometimes, some people say, oh, it's not in my contract to work on the weekends, or, it's actually before we start. You're not going to make it.
It's how we've been building this team. Whenever you're starting a startup, whenever you just start running a project and you're not huge, if somebody tells you, over hours, weekends, out.
Oh, that's
immediate.
That's not in my.
You don't have the
warrior
job
description.
Yeah, it's just what you don't have this warrior mentality. You need to understand what it is to run a startup. You need to what it is when you have a team of 5. I need to work as a team of 50. And this is it. Like how I
Yeah.
love saying it. You go to sleep at 6 a.m. and wake up 5:59. You have minus 1 minute of sleep.
Yeah, like I said, my Whoop band keeps telling me like, you need to sleep 10 and a half hours tonight because I've always got massive sleep debt. But I just can't sleep longer than like six hours. If I get 7 hours sleep, like I'm refreshed.
Yeah, 7 is proper.
Yeah, but it's rare. I guess 7.
Oh, yeah.
Like very rare. But like
Even on the weekends.
Yeah, no,
That's tough. And maybe you can tell us a little bit. And at the end, like what I wanted to dive deeper in is less about crypto, but more about your personality. Like, can you share with us something about your discipline? How you actually put yourself to work that hard? Maybe some sports, maybe some schedule, like how you actually make yourself so focused on the thing that you do.
It's a great question. I mean, I grew my agency from like my bedroom to like where it is today, which was like working with like some of the biggest projects in crypto, which is like running the biggest, crypto event in Turkey, which is, working with superstars in the past, like Akon. And, so like it's been a wild journey. I've never taken $1 of VC money. And I came from like a difficult financial background as a kid. So like everything that I ever did had to be done by earning the money and then paying people.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I never got any like, credit card or daddy's wallet or anything like that. But when things like that happen to you at a younger age, it's actually useful. Like as in like the younger that you learn as an adult that no one's going to be there and back you up and be a pillow for you, the quicker you can grow.
Exactly.
Like it's such a key point because like then that obviously that did strike me like in my early teenagers years, and then therefore I wasn't looking to get handouts. I wasn't looking for people to help me. I wasn't looking for people to feel sorry for me. It's all just like, well, if I just outwork everyone, I will be able to achieve what I want to achieve, I guess, or at least I'm going to give it my best to do so. So I mean, I come from the background of like, okay, I'll be honest with you. I found a solution at like a 16 years old or so, or maybe 17, where like when negative things happen to me, I learned how to like bring that into a positive way of like in my mind. So like when bad things happened, I would before that I'd let it fester and I'd, maybe, get in trouble, and do things negatively based on that coming. But then the more that I learned like how to kind of take this negative energy and then bottle it up and then actually use this as firepower, like to actually drive me forward.
Yeah.
Because think it like when you've been through crap in your childhood or especially in your childhood, it affects you. Whatever happens in your childhood affects you as an adult.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, and so the more that you can like take that negativity and then use it positively, because it can drive you so much further. I always have this like elastic band like theory that I say to people. So let's say like everyone is born like as an elastic band. You've just left your mum's body, and like let's say that like over the course of your childhood, like nothing really bad happens. So like okay, yeah, maybe you didn't do so well at school, but you're well off, and you had some good friends, and so like you didn't have that much problems when you're a youngster. So you only like come back to like here, and then eventually you're 18, you want to go into like whatever real estate, and then you let go, and like your motivation is like just gets you to about there. If you have like really bad stuff happen to you, I don't know, God knows, let's just say, let's just say, you had some bad time with your parents, or maybe, some people died, maybe you like, got kicked out of school, maybe you turned to drugs, maybe you start fighting everyone. Yeah. Maybe, you maybe go, you can make anything up. Maybe you're kicked out your house, maybe you lived on the street, right? So this band is like starting to like get really, really tight. And this elastic band, like it can drop. And if you, I got to that point. I'm not saying those things happened to me. Some crazy stuff happened to me, but it's probably not right to say on this show. Like that's starting to stretch. And at that point, I had a crazy night where like I just found a way to like just go, do you know what? If I keep like having this negative like energy, like let this affect me, that band's gonna snap. And if it falls down here, it's like jail.
Yeah, something bad.
Jail or like criminal record, or like you're never gonna get out of the small town that you're in, and you're just gonna have a really average, if you're lucky, life, or probably bad life. Maybe you'll turn to drugs, alcohol, whatever, But anyway, I got to that point where like it was gonna snap, and then I managed to like say, do you know what? Screw all of this. I'm just gonna use this as like I feel like I'm tanked up, with like emotion, but like if I can learn how to make that emotion from negative into positive and like bottle it up, then you let go, and obviously you're going
gonna be-
all the way past your peers, all the way past your peers, all the way. And that's honestly the truth of what happened to me. Like I was very close to like falling down that ditch, but I had that kind of eureka moment. And even now it was weird. Like the last bull market in 2021, when you looked at your portfolio and you couldn't believe what number it was. For the first time in my entrepreneurial life, I got a little bit lazy. And I was like, I've never felt this way before. I was like, what's going on? I'm not that motivated. And then then after, you know, life is always in cycles. You know, you're never on top for long. You know, you're always going to get some hits. Anyway, I started to get a few hits, and I do like with some health issue and various things in my personal life. And I was like, oh, you know, that hurt. But then I found myself again. I was like, oh, actually, I need this. Like, I need negativity. Like, I know it sounds weird, but like the way that I grew up,
I fully agree with you.
I need people to like laugh at me or like, you know, say I'm never going to make it or break up with me or whatever it is.
It gives you the push.
It gives me,
right?
and I'm like, thank God I can punch back, you know, faster back into life. I mean. And so, yeah, it was so good to like have that because it revved up my engines again. And like, it's weird. And I need to be very mindful of that in this bull market. If I get back to that situation again, what am I going to do? Because I need some input.
Exactly. And I love it. And that's what I think makes you yourself right now.
Yeah.
It's just a thing that people say, oh, I try to avoid stress. But my personal opinion that stress is good. Sometimes, like, especially when it's a good kind of stress, when it makes you feel like, all right, I gonna kick your, you know, like I'll be the one who knocks. And this is the thing, like whenever you start to feel comfortable at some point of time, it just becomes the thing that you become lazy. You become already so, should I go to this meeting? I'm not that hungry no more. Should I go to this podcast and waste my time? I'm not that hungry no more. And you being more and more like lazy.
Yeah.
And then you stop with your development. Whenever something hits you hard and somebody, as you said, laughs from you or, you know, telling you you're not going to make it when you're breaking up with a girl or something like that, just be like absolutely focused. At this point of time, you just sit and think, all right, this world is a challenge and I got to be the warrior here. And I got to be the one who's going to win this thing.
Yeah.
And then you're just pushing yourself.
Yeah.
I had it in my life a couple of times already. You know, as I always say, you know, I have very short period of experience in this life, especially comparing to you and what we had in crypto and what we had in life in general. But I already have this couple of, you know, raises and falls. And, you know, one thing that I learned from myself is that never feel like you are better than everyone else. Whenever you start, you know, gritting yourself too much, it's going to drop you down immediately.
Yeah.
Very right thing. And the second thing, whenever you feel like getting comfortable, be ready to fall down.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like I had this moment of my life when I was like really working very hard, doing a lot of things, and actually lost a lot of weight. I was like this skinny at this point of time, like 69 kilos or something. And yeah, at some point of time, I just like, I lost a job. I lost my documents. I didn't have any money at all. And I was just sitting, you know, in very bad health condition, in very bad like social condition, in very bad work condition. And that was the point of time when I felt very lazy before, but this was the point of time when it's like, all right, now we act, now we do. So then like 5 months plus 15 kilos, new company, bunch of new connections, bunch of networking, bunch of things. Just in like couple of months, I entirely changed everything just because of this feeling of stress. Just because, you know, I felt like I either gonna be eaten by somebody right now or I gotta take it all. And you're very right with that.
Yeah.
And I also love this thing about what you said, like when you coming from nothing, because I personally see that there are 3 types like of your background. You either come from very nothing, from very bad life situation, like when, you know, I don't know, like people when having their dad as alcoholic or don't have their dad, you know, living in very poor conditions, you know, being bitten in school or something like that. Either you come from mid section, I would say, when everything is chill and okay, but it's not flashy. And you just like, yeah, I have a very comfortable life. It's okay. But I maybe want something bigger, but I'm too lazy to do it.
Yeah, those people don't do very well.
Yeah. And very rich background.
Yeah.
When like there, you either take what you have, be smart and, you know, make it better, or you become a drug head, lose it all, you know, die. And so what I think that the most complicated condition where it can come from is middle class. Because, you know, people coming from middle class usually don't have that much motivation because they never had this hunger. but they already feel comfortable and they have the patterns of their parents and, of their surrounding, how to live life. And basically these people are mostly like, don't think about something, like they don't think out of the boundaries. They always be like, okay, yeah, I'll finish my school. I go to this corporate job, gonna work there for like 30 years, retire, have everything calm. And it usually doesn't change. So it's extreme. Like what I say, that if you had bad childhood as a man, it's extremely good for you because you actually had this push, as you said, this band is stretching. And if you didn't let this band just rip at some point of time and just let it go like that, you're going to be in the sky. Exactly. You're going to be going to the moon.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think it's interesting because like if you have that mindset that I mentioned, that means you're always going to win, because like if something bad happens to you, it's energy, and if something good happens to you, good. Nothing can hurt you. I think you kind of feel bulletproof like from that point. And like obviously like my work ethic is pretty crazy, if I'm being honest with you. But like if I say to people, it's what else would I be doing? Like sometimes my friends say, are you going to sell the business one day, or you're just going to like take a break? And it's like, well, but then what would I be doing?
What am I going to be doing?
I mean, I'm just going to watch football, drink some beer, go to the gym. I'm going to be bored out my tree. And like work actually gives you structure. I think, especially if you come from like the background where you've had maybe some issues in the past with alcohol and things like that. You need to know that, I need to be up at like 9, and I've got all these meetings, I've got all this going on. It gives you like a purpose in life. Like EAK, my agency, Istanbul Blockchain, it gives me a reason to like keep trying to achieve things. Yeah, exactly. If I don't have that, God knows what I'll end up doing. I'll probably end up in trouble again, because I've just been partying, doing things I shouldn't be doing. And like, what good to society is that? It's probably bad for my health and probably bad for everyone else, to be honest, if you catch me in that scenario. Again, a lot of people say, oh, why don't you just like retire if you made enough money? And it's like, well, I could retire. I actually could retire, but like, I'm going to be waking up every morning. Like, do you want to play FIFA? Like, as if I was like 17 years old at uni, it's ridiculous, but it goes back to that. My hobbies are what? Travel, crypto, football, gaming. I'm still 18, 20. I'm still 23 in my mind.
Your head, right?
Work. I mean, on Thursday, because we were at GITEX, I moved all my meetings to Thursday. I literally had like 14 hours of calls, like back to back.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
14 hours of calls. How many calls were that?
So it's like 28, because it's like half an hour, like from like 9.
You won this competition. Well, like, wow, 25 calls in the entire day.
It's not, obviously people will think, oh, that's not very productive, but actually, like, I pride myself on it, because I've got then 28 potential opportunities of business, of collaborations, of building relationships, of X, Y, Z. And I don't want to just let them go because I was at a conference. That defeats the object of going to a conference in the first place. So, I mean, and in kind of weird way, it's the same with this Whoop band. Do you know what this Whoop band is?
Yeah, of course.
So, like, I was saying to my partner the other day, I was like, because she always gets 100% sleep performance. Of course she does, right? And I'm there with my 5 hours sleep, which is typical. So she sleeps well, and I'm busting my ass all the time. But anyway, so then I saw it and was like, do you know what I'm impressed by? Because there was one night where I got 3 hours sleep, but my strain was on 20.7 because I went to the gym in the morning and then I played like 90 minutes of 5-side football afterward. And my sleep and my performance, my recovery was like 27%, and my strain was like 21. So like I was like, that's what I'm impressed by. If you do like the ratio of like the lowest recovery and the highest strain, that's what I'm impressed by. I'm not impressed by these 100% sleep performance. Like, you lived a good life.
Just look at the ratio.
Yeah, but then that goes back to my mindset again, because the people that had 100% performance of their childhood and easy upbringing, and I got enough sleep and they're all great. Yeah, it turns me off. But the guys that like got like really crappy recovery and like clearly don't feel good, but they still push past that needle. Like that's what like
that's what makes you impressed.
I'm proud of that. Yeah, like that's what I'm impressed by. So, but that just comes again from my background, my past. But yeah, it can be tiring if I'm being honest with you. But like at the same time, it's obviously very rewarding, or I wouldn't do it. So yeah.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. What a life story. And I love your mentality. Actually, like what I see, and I draw this parallels all the time. Like I love metaphors in my life. I love, because I have a bunch of hobbies myself, and I always transpose from one hobby to another. I used to ride BMX a lot, and like how my good friend who brought me to Crypto said, what I love in your mentality, that you have this BMX mentality. every time you fall, kick you in the head, kick you in the leg or something, it hurts. You take the bike, go upstairs and do it once again.
Yeah.
And until you hit it, you're going to jump and try and do it. And every time you fall, you can cry, you can scream, take your bike, come back, do it once again. And this is what I actually do in life. And so here I love like drawing the parallels also with mentalities of people. And every person who made something in this life, we all have this common thing. Everyone has this common thing. And what I love about like what we can share with listeners on this podcast, because I'm pretty much sure that there are a bunch of kids sitting around there trying to learn about how they can grow in this life, how they can grow in Web3 space, and how they can actually make themselves a better version of themselves.
Yeah.
Just listen to this man. Like, see how it comes. Take the experience, learn from it, and go with it. Because there are three types of people. There are like people who learn from their own mistakes, and it's very slow way of learning something. There are people who learn from other people's mistakes, but it's also kind of slow way of learning it. And there are people who just bunch to the front as a tank. They just, they just bump into everything and they push. They learn other experience, they know their experience, and they just push and they always sure that, I gonna make it. And this is the thing. Listen to others, but never hesitate of being pushy and being yourself. Because, we all are great people in this life. And yeah, that's it. And Matt, like for the final part of our podcast, I wanted to ask you about your plans because, you had a great past, you're doing great right now. And I'm really interested what you're going to do in the future. Maybe let's say for upfront year, what are your biggest plans that you want to actually make?
Where do I start? Like, because I come from a creative agency, so I'm always coming up with ideas. And sometimes it's a pleasure, but sometimes it's a pain because my team are like, what? More businesses inside the business. So from a pure agency perspective, we have an amazing team in Turkey I'm very proud of. We're doing a lot of marketing for some of the biggest L1s in the space. And so I want to grow that now in some of those regions that I mentioned. So like Nigeria, Vietnam, Southeast Asia, Thailand, like actually build off, like not necessarily an office, but like a core team in those areas and have that like available. I'm also looking at how we can integrate AI as much as possible into our agency to ensure that we are getting the best results for our clients. Not to like do less work, actually to do more work, so that we're pitching more, so that we're on the ball more. We're getting live, we're getting live updates of like things that are happening, and then we can respond to that straight away for our clients automatically, kind of thing, And so I'm really like interested in that. I'm also obviously have my own YouTube channel, which I only started growing in maybe Q2 this year. I've already had some great guests. I'm leveraging my network. Obviously, I've worked with the influencers for a long time. And actually, I've figured out like how to grow that channel already. So now what I want to do is like build a network of KOLs then that we can have under our EAK network, and we can help, of course, grow them. We can help them negotiate. We can help them get great guests. We can help them. We can put them in our events, etc., etc., etc. We can do lots there. That's another thing that's further down the line. We also have the EAK Wire service, which was launched about 5 months ago, which is basically like a PR news wire lots of projects want to get news out there, but it's not organic news. So like, how do they get it published? They still want to share it with their community. They still want to tell people they listed this token, etc. So like, we now have that in-house, which is great. And Nadeem was there at Jitex, and he's doing a great job. And then we're actually building something else called Crypto Harrow, which is like a platform that allows journalists to come with their request to us and say, hey, I want to do a feature on exchanges. And then it comes into EAK, and then leveraging my network mainly, but the rest of the team as well. Who is the best person we can find? For this, and instantly like set them up with that feature. So I'm always thinking about how can we get opportunities to come to us instead of us always having to go to media. Because if it can come to us, and obviously we can prioritize where it's going, and we can obviously give them the best and the quickest service, then I think that's again going to help our product, right? It's going to help us deliver better work for our clients. So yeah, building all of those things. Obviously, working on Istanbul Blockchain Week for next year. That's just forever. Always working on Istanbul Blockchain
every
Week.
year.
But like Forbes is going to be working with us this year. Last year we had Fortune Magazine Turkey. Looks like Forbes is going to come in, like Forbes Turkey and Forbes Web3, which is cool.
Awesome.
Already speaking to like Karate Combat, also Killer Whales guys, to come into Turkey and do things. So that's super cool. But yeah, like in general, I've been thinking about launching my own token at some stage, because like it's been a long way of helping clients and not following through. But obviously, again, it has to be the right thing, because if I'm not passionate about it, I don't want to do it. Like, I'm not just doing it for money. That's a key point here. I'm not doing it for money. I'll be doing it because I need a reason to it's a gap in the market. There's a reason to do it, and I'm passionate about it. So yeah, like this is the problem. So, but now I think I'm trying to create companies within the agency. If you think of EAK as like a Web3 Virgin group, I mean Virgin, the company.
Yeah.
So like we have like EAKY. We also have W3E, which is our gaming division, which is we also do like live LAN esports tournaments for Web3 gaming. We did in 2022. We're still doing it now, and we're launching potentially a token around there. EAKY, Istanbul Blockchain Week, Blockdown Festival. Like this is, this is
just
the
go
issue.
boom, 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 boom.
But I'm trying to build, and we are building, departments and like companies within the company. So the people that lead those brands, I'm allowing them to be entrepreneurs in a safe space.
But it's a proper corporate structure. Whenever you go that big, it's already, something that we learned back in the university. It's already how you should build a corporate structure, how to make people motivated, how to make people manage other people, and, making it instructors.
I'm kind of jealous of the people that are leading those brands in our agency. They basically have they have a stop loss, they can't like lose all their money and then they make those mistakes with us, and obviously hopefully they don't make that many mistakes with my guidance, but they're bound to. But also they can have budgets, they can grow a business, they can have a team all within like the EAK ecosystem, and basically empowering young entrepreneurs that are very, very good for those specific brands to like go and own the process just with my oversight, which is the next level. And I think eventually maybe when we finish this bull market, we'll see if I hire a CEO in for the company and then I just take a little step back and think about what I want to do after, because it will be like 8-9 years.
And be the scary retired guy you mentioned at the beginning.
No, I mean, I'm not going to retire, that's for sure. I just see where I can best be of use. I want to help people that were in my scenario, in teenagers or early 20s that want to grow a business. Let's say they're from, London's dire right now. I'm from London, it's really going to the pot, let's say. So I want to help young entrepreneurs that don't see much of a future, that are creative but like struggling to like get any like positive reinforcement, and show them my journey and tell them like you can do it, and talk to them not like I'm aloof businessman, because I don't talk like that anyway, and just let them see that actually it is possible to be successful, but I'll show them like how hard they have to work for it, And I would love to like be part of their journeys and like help them, see the light, so to speak, especially if they've been through problems in the past. If this bull run goes well and everything is good financially, like completely, then I would love to contribute to those young entrepreneurs, and then we'll see what goes after that.
That's awesome, man. And for the final finish of our podcast, let's maybe give 4 pieces of advice to somebody who's brand new to crypto. Let's say somebody's learning about crypto from this video right now, and they would love to hear some pieces of advice from somebody who is out there in this field for a long period of time. So very quickly, just 4 things you should pay attention to as a crypto newbie.
Don't trade leverage. Don't.
That's we all been here, guys. Like, don't trade leverage whenever you need joiner.
Just be very, very careful about links. If you have your money in a hot wallet, like be very, very, very careful. If anyone sends you a PDF or a document or anything, even on Telegram, ask them for a Google Doc, like ask them for Google Slide, like so you don't have to download anything.
Yes.
Some people will unknowingly send you that stuff. It's not necessarily them. Like maybe they got infected and then your hot wallet's empty and you're drained and you're finished. That's a big one. Thirdly, I would say obviously, you have to use the products, like, instead of just buying into like your coins that influencers this is a key one. No one knows anything. Like, doesn't matter who you are, Willy Woo, all these guys, a blockchain on analysts, whatever it is, KOLs, everyone is guessing. I saw it in the last cycle. Like, even people that you think they got all the charts, like everything going there, this is exactly going to be the top. It's all nonsense. Nobody has a clue. No one.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, just forget about it. Don't fall into any narratives. Like, if you've made enough money, just sell immediately. Because tomorrow it could all be gone. And actually, if everyone is thinking something's going to happen, it won't happen.
Exactly. Like whenever the old Twitter says that something's going to happen, it's going to go in that direction.
It was like 100K as programmed last bull run. I fell for it. Like, 100K is definitely going to happen. And then obviously it didn't. That'd be my third point. Final point, as much as possible, self-custody.
Self-custody.
Don't leave a lot of money on exchanges. They get hacked all the time. Sometimes they're inside jobs as well. The worst thing possible in Web3 is that you're really promising, you're really enjoying like learning, you're meeting new people, you're loving the community, and then you get like either rugged or you get, you get scammed or you get malware, and you're like, oh, you just get kicked in the nuts. So like, just don't let it happen to you.
Yeah. Not to lose your passion about the market.
Yeah.
All right. Amazing. So we have advices for each of KOLO letters in here. So I think that's the beautiful finish for our podcast. We literally touched every topic that I wanted to discuss. And I'm really, really happy that we made it today. I'm very excited. I don't even have words to explain what I feel right now. Thank you so much, Erhan, for coming here today.
Thanks so much for
having me. It was a great podcast, great conversation. So for all our listeners and for all our viewers, please do your own research. Never fall into scams. Listen to this guy's advices and actually just stay safe. Thank you so much. Bye.